Edward was the only child and son of Mr. and Mrs. Philip. He was 12 years old and was very notorious. He loved his parents, but yet he was disrespectful to them. His parents were very wealthy, and since he was the only child, they spoiled him ignorantly. Edward wasn't only disrespectful to his parents, but also to his teachers. He would always get involved in a fight at school, and whenever he gets scolded by his teachers, he would talk back at them arrogantly and walk out. After all, my parents owns the school, he would conclude. One day, his parents were coming back from one of their companies when they saw their son in another fight. He was all beaten up and already had a swollen mouth. Immediately they sighted him, they chased the boys away and took their son to the car. "How did you get into such fights, Edward?" his father queried him, but he only kept saying that it wasn't his fault and that his parents came just when the victory was about to be his, which made his father shut him up immediately after reminding him that it was the 17th time he was indulging into a fight. When they got home, his father ignored him throughout the day. After firing Edward's personal guard for leaving their son out like that, which made Edward cry throughout the night because he knew he would miss his best pal and the only one whom he felt understood him the most. That night, his mother, Mrs. Philip, went to his room to console him and to talk to him. She told him the dangers of fighting and so many results to it. She told him their eyes can't be everywhere he is, since they also have things they are engaged with. Then she pleaded with him to avoid arguments and violence, and that it will only cause nothing but harm. Then he nodded and hugged his mother, and after she left, he slept off. 2 weeks passed, and Edward did not indulge in any fights. His parents got proud of him and planned a surprising birthday party for him, which was coming up by the next month. 2 days before his 13th birthday, he got into a serious fight in school. His teachers tried to reprimand him, but he became more stubborn and kept triggering his opponents to bring it on. And in the process, him and one other student broke their legs. Edward broke his left leg, and that day he cried profusely and hated his actions. When his parents heard the news, they quickly drove to the school and took their son, who was crying profusely, to the hospital. Some minutes passed, and the doctor walked to the parents to give them the reports concerning Edward's broken leg. He told them he would never be able to stand with his second leg. Then he advised them to get a wheelchair for him. He told them a very vital part of his leg was destroyed and that there could only be a possibility after 5 years. So his parents sadly agreed and thanked the doctor. At noon, the doctor prescribed some medications for him, which would ease his pains, and by evening, they took Edward home. When they got home, his father, who was highly disappointed at him, ignored him and refused to speak with him. They employed a home teacher for him and told him that until he is able to walk back, he wouldn't return back to school. and would be homeschooled, and that made Edward cry endlessly. For days, he refused to eat and take his medications, but subsequently, he got used to it and cooperated. The day of his birthday, his parents got gifts for him, but didn't throw a large surprising party as planned, which made Edward deeply sad. 5 years later, Edward was able to walk well again. He thanked God for answering his day-to-day prayers and told him he would keep his promise of never indulging in a fight again. A year passed and he went to the higher institutions, and throughout his time spent over there, he didn't have problems with anyone, and his parents were proud of him.